Hello to all of you, my lovely students in the 10th grade. How are you today? It's me, your English teacher, Iman Al-Jafari from Al Farouk Academy. In our lesson today, we are going to start reading the text from Unit 7. As I told you, the title of this unit is In Suspense. So, let's start. So if I ask you again, what do you mean by the noun suspense? Excellent. It is a feeling of excitement or nervousness because you don't know what is going to happen. Okay, يعني suspense هون تيجي بمعنى تشويق. So in our lesson today we are going also to revise the type of the text that we are going to read. Then we are going to define the meanings of some words and phrases while reading the text. The last step we are going to read another part of the text and identify the main ideas. So again, if I ask you what is the type of the text that you are going to read, excellent, it is an adventure story. What do you mean by adventure story? It is a type of stories by which the main character is facing something dangerous and try to survive from it. In this adventure story, the main character, Jamie, was followed by three men, and this story happens, excellent, in a barn at dawn. هذا السيتنج للستوري اللي هو in a barn at dawn. In our previous lesson, we started reading the first part of this story. As I told you, the title of this story is Escape. Excellent. What do you mean by escape? Run away. So, the first scene of this story when Jamie was sleeping in the barn. So, the creak of the door or the sound of the door woke him up. So, at first, he couldn't remember anything, but feeling the aching of his muscles. What do you mean by aching of his muscles? Excellent. يعني الآلام اللي كان بيشعر فيها لأنه هو كان نايم على الأرض helped him to remember what happened with him in the previous day. So if I ask you, what could he remember? Excellent. The first thing, his escape from his uncle's house. Then the dangerous trip across the moor يعني رحلة الخطيرة اللي كانت في الأرض الواسعة and some people were following him in order to take the document that his uncle gave him. The last thing that he remembered that was excellent. He was trying to avoid falling amongst the treacherous rocks. Okay, so if I ask you again, what is the title of this story? Excellent. Escape. Who is the main character in this story? Excellent, Jamie. Then, when and where did the story happen? يعني give me the setting of this story. Excellent. In the barn at dawn. The last question, what did Jamie's uncle give him to deliver to London? What did he give him? Excellent. He gave him a document. And now let's start with the second part of this story to know what happened with Jamie. Jamie lay completely still. He hardly dared breathe. He heard no sound, but he couldn't rid himself of the feeling that he was no longer alone in the barn. Someone else was listening for the slightest movement. Seconds passed. Jamie held his breath. Suddenly, a dim light went on. Jamie froze. The light moved as if someone was walking forward with it. It could only be a matter of moments before it fell on the corner where he was lying. Jamie felt the thumping of his heart. Here, a muffled voice shouted from outside, "Footprints going into the stable." So in this paragraph, we know that Jamie lay completely still. Still here means not moving. Okay, again, what do you mean by still? يعني جيمي كان في البار في الاسطبل يعني بدون حركة. He hardly dared breathe يعني هو كمان ما كان يعني حتى نفسه كان بيطلع بصعوبة عشان ما حدا يسمع إنه كان موجود. He heard no sound, but he couldn't rid himself of the feeling that he was no longer alone in the barn. صحيح ما كان سامع صوت، لكن هو كان متأكد إنه هو ليس وحيدا في الاسطبل. Someone else was listening for the slightest movement. يعني كان في حدا عماله بستنى إنه يتحرك حركة لو إنها بسيطة. أوكي. slightest بمعنى very small. أوكي. second passed يعني ثواني مرت عليه. جيمي held his breath. كان عماله بيحاول إنه يكتم نفسه. suddenly a dim light went on. إذا كلام جيمي أو تفكير جيمي طلع صح. إذا دخل حدا على المكان اللي كان فيه جيمي وحامل بإيده something like a torch يعني زي كأنه مصباح. فهو جيمي لقى إنه في ضوء دخل على المكان اللي هو كان فيه. جيمي froze بمعنى جيمي was excellent afraid or terrified يعني هو كان مرعوب اتجمد في مكانه. The light moved as if someone was walking forward with it يعني الضوء كان بتحرك في الغرفة زي كأنه حدا ماشي وحامله معه. هلأ with it اللي هي it هون بتعود على excellent بتعود على اللايت. It could only be a matter of moments يعني كانت تقريبا ثواني before it fell. it برضه هون بتعود على اللايت. okay. It fell on the corner where he was lying يعني الضوء كان الشخص اللي حامل هذا الضوء كان بيمشي في المكان وهو تقريبا كان وصل للمكان اللي كان متخبي فيه جيمي أو كان مستلقي فيه. again a matter of moments before it fell زي ما حكيت لك before the light fell on the corner يعني تقريبا الضوء وصل على الزاوية اللي كان فيها جيمي. اوكي. هلا where بتعود على الكورنر. جيمي felt the thumping of his heart يعني هو خلص كان كتير terrified وكان حاسب نبضات قلبه. Hear a muffled voice shouted from outside. إجا صوت. إيش معنى muffled يا عاشر؟ excellent. not clear sound يعني كان في صوت مكتوم من الخارج. شو هذا الصوت بحكي؟ عماله بحكي footprints going into the stable يعني في آثار أقدام موجودة في المكان. okay. so if I ask you the pronoun it refers to excellent it refers to the light. The next Quote a sentence that means Jamie was afraid or terrified. في كتير يا مس جمل بتعطينا إنه جيمي كان afraid or terrified. منها Jamie froze أو Jamie felt the thumping of his heart. هذول كلهم معناهم إنه جيمي كان خائف من الموقف إنه في حد دخل عليه وتقريبا هذول الثري من راح يمسكوه. أوكي. فعشان هيك هو كان afraid or terrified. What did Jamie hear when he was lying in the stable? شو الإشي اللي سمعه لما كان هو مستلقي في الستيبل؟ Excellent. He heard a muffled voice shouted from outside. So if I ask you, what do you mean by muffled? Again, not clear. Still, when we say he lay completely still. Okay, what do you mean by still? Not moving يعني هو كان ثابت ما بتحرك. Okay. The last paragraph in our lesson today, the light stopped and the dim beam swung around. Whoever was carrying it moved quickly toward the door and pushed it open. Jamie heard it swing shut and he was left in darkness again, with one thought: these men were looking for him. So in this paragraph, as I told you, the three men were following Jamie. So the man who was carrying the light was one of these three men. يعني الرجل اللي كان حامل هذا اللايت كان واحد من الرجال الثلاث اللي عمالهم بلاحقوا بجيمي and he was trying to find where is Jamie. The light stopped and dim beam swung around. هلا هون يا مس بدك تعرف انه لما حدا من الخارج الشخص الاخر نادى وحكى اني انا شفت اثار اقدام في الاسطبل. هذا الرجل اللي كان في نفس الغرفة اللي كان فيها جيمي go out to see the footprint وهذا الاشي اللي خلاه ما يكتشف الكورنر اللي كان موجود فيها جيمي. اوكي. again the light stopped. هلا الضوء بعد ما كان ماشي في اتجاه اللي موجود فيه جيمي هلا the dim beam swung around رجع وراح على مكان آخر. whoever يعني الرجل من هدول الثلاث اللي كان حامل هذا اللايت was carrying it. again the pronoun it refers to excellent. The light moved quickly toward the door and pushed it open. مين اللي راح على الباب وفتح الباب؟ اللي هو one of the three men that was trying to find Jamie. إذا الإت الثاني بتعود على excellent the door. Jamie heard it swing shut. برضه هنا سمعه بتسكر شو هو برضه the door of the bar and he was left in darkness again. وتركوه في نفس المكان اللي كان موجود فيه. إذا هذا الرجل لما اقترب من المكان اللي كان موجود فيه جيمي، هلأ لحسن الحظ إنه الشخص الثاني ناداه وحكى له تعال شوف هي فيه آثار أقدام في المكان اللي أنا فيه. هلأ ترك المكان الموجود فيه جيمي وطلع يشوف هاي الفوت برينتس. أوكي so with one thought كان في تفكير واحد عند جيمي. These men were looking for him. Him refers to Jamie. إذا هو تأكد هلأ إنه هدول الثري men yes excellent were looking for him. So if I ask you who was carrying the light in the bar, مين اللي كان حامل التورش and tried to find Jamie? Excellent, he was one of the three men that were following Jamie. إذا هو كان واحد من الرجال الثلاثة اللي عمالهم بيحاولوا يوجدوا جيمي in order to take the document that his uncle gave to him. Okay, my lovely students, I will stop here today. In our next lesson, we are going to read another part to know more details about this story. Thank you very much.